You got the raise. You actually got it. The one you spent 2 years working toward, sacrificing weekends for, staying late for. The number in the offer letter is bigger than anything you have ever earned. You sign it. The first paycheck lands. You check the account and the balance is the highest it has ever been in your life. And you are waiting for the feeling to change. It has not changed. Not even a little. The same low-grade hum of financial dread that has followed you for years is still there, sitting in your chest like something left on. You tell yourself you just need more time, that it will settle once the numbers feel real, that maybe the next raise will be the one that finally does it. The buy here is what nobody in your life has ever told you. The feeling was never about the number, and that means no number was ever going to fix it. But the science that explains why, that is the part that changes everything. Most people assume financial anxiety is a money problem. Not enough income, not enough savings, not enough security. Fix the money, fix the feeling. So they work harder, earn more, pay down the debt, build the buffer. And then they arrive at the place they were working toward, the place that was supposed to feel different. And it does not feel different. It feels exactly like before, except the numbers on the screen are bigger. And instead of relief, what most people feel is a specific quiet shame. Because if the money is finally okay and you still feel like this, what does that say about you? It says you are a human with a nervous system, that is all. And the science explains exactly why. Principal one of the cognitive tax Harvard economist Sendil Mullainathan spent years studying the psychological effects of scarcity on the human brain. Not the financial effects, the cognitive effects. What scarcity does to the mind of the person experiencing it. His finding was not what anyone expected. Scarcity does not just drain your bank account, it occupies your mind. Constantly, automatically, without your permission. The brain of a person under financial pressure allocates a significant portion of its cognitive bandwidth to monitoring the scarce resource, tracking it, scanning for threats to it, running financial calculations in the background of every unrelated thought. Mullainathan and his colleagues estimated this cognitive tax at the equivalent of a 13-point drop in IQ. Not because financially stressed people are less intelligent, because their intelligence is being consumed by something that will not switch off. Picture this. You are in a meeting at work. Your manager is talking. You are nodding. And underneath the nod, underneath the meeting, running on a quiet and persistent loop, your mind is doing arithmetic that has nothing to do with the room you are in. How much is in the account right now? Whether that bill has cleared. What happens if the car needs something this month? Whether you can cover it if it does. You did not choose to run that loop. You cannot make it stop by deciding to stop it. It is not a thought, it is a process. And it runs the same way breathing runs, below the level of conscious control. Because the nervous system classified it as survival critical a long time ago and never reclassified it. Principle 2, the map that doesn't update. Here is the part that Mullainathan's research pointed toward, but that neuroscience has since confirmed in disturbing detail. The cognitive architecture that scarcity builds, the threat scanning, the hypervigilance, the hair trigger alarm system around money, does not automatically dissolve when the scarcity ends. Studies following people who escaped financial poverty found elevated cortisol responses to financial stimuli, ordinary bills, price tags, account notifications, persisting for decades after those people had achieved genuine financial stability. Their accounts were fine. Their bodies were still responding as if they were not. The nervous system had been trained on a world in which financial threats were real, frequent, and could arrive without warning. And the nervous system, unlike the spreadsheet, does not update in real time. It updates on evidence, repeated lived evidence that the old rules no longer apply. And that evidence takes time, sometimes years, sometimes longer. What this means practically is this. You are not reading your current financial situation. You are reading your current financial situation through the lens of every financial situation that shaped you before this one. The account balance you see on the screen passes through a nervous system that was calibrated during a time when the balance was different. And that nervous system does not fully trust what the screen says, because the screen has been wrong before. Or rather, the screen has been okay and then not okay, without much warning. And the nervous system remembers that. Your body is not lying to you, it is just reading from an old map. Principle 3, the floor that moves. Even for people who did not grow up with financial scarcity, even for people who came to financial anxiety through a different door, there's a second mechanism running simultaneously that ensures the finish line never arrives. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation, the brain's relentless automatic tendency to normalize every new condition and return to a stable emotional baseline regardless of external circumstances. You earn more. The brain absorbs the new income as the new normal within weeks. The relief of having more becomes the baseline anxiety of needing to maintain it. The number that once felt like safety is now the number you cannot afford to lose. This is not a personality flaw. It is not ingratitude. It is one of the most well-documented phenomena in all of psychology, studied in lottery winners, in people who received significant windfalls, in entire populations whose national income doubled. The money rises. The baseline rises with it. The distance between you and the edge of what feels like enough stays constant, because the edge is not a fixed point on the financial map. It is a function of your current position, which means the raise was solving for a target that moved the moment you hit it, and it will keep moving every time. Principle 4, the architecture. Here's where everything converges, and this is the part that most people never reach, because most financial content stops at the behavior and never goes below it to the structure underneath. The scarcity mindset is not a mindset. That framing is the problem, with how this has been discussed for 20 years, as if it were a belief you could choose to update, a thought pattern you could interrupt with enough positive thinking and the right journal prompts. It is not a thought, it is architecture. The nervous system of a person who grew up with financial instability did not form opinions about money. It built a threat detection system around money, wired into the body, expressed as cortisol, running as a background process that does not care what your conscious mind believes, what your account balance says, or how much work you have done on your money mindset. You can know, intellectually, completely, without doubt, that you are financially safe right now. And your body can simultaneously be in a low-grade state of financial emergency, because the part of the nervous system running the emergency program is not the part that reads the spreadsheet. This is why the people who worked hardest to escape financial struggle are sometimes the most financially terrified. They did not leave the architecture behind. They brought it with them. It came with them into every raise, every promotion, every moment the numbers finally looked right, and it sat there in the background, running the old program on the old data in the new life. There are two entirely separate experiences that most people assume are the same thing. There is being financially safe, having enough, having a buffer, having stability. And there is feeling financially safe. The nervous system registering that the threat has passed, standing down, allowing rest. For a very large number of people, these two things are completely disconnected. You can have the first one and still be entirely without the second. Not because you are broken, not because you are ungrateful, not because you need to think more positively or budget more carefully or earn more than you already do, but because feeling safe is not a function of your bank balance. It is a function of your nervous system's threat assessment. And your nervous system's threat assessment was calibrated by experiences that no longer apply. The first step is not a financial plan. The first step is witnessing what actually happened, naming the architecture, recognizing that the program running in your body was written by a version of you that needed it to survive, and that the program served its purpose, and that purpose is over. That is not a cure. Nervous systems do not reset overnight. But it is the beginning of a different relationship with money. One where the account balance is allowed to tell you something true. One where a good month is allowed to feel like a good month. One where the raise you worked 2 years for is allowed, finally, genuinely actually, to feel like enough. Subscribe. Because next week we are going into something that goes even deeper than this.